Welcome to
So
Don Talk. Here we are again, sir. This how we do it. Glad to see you. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Wonderful, man. Tired.
I
You know
bet,
what's that?
man.
The Green Mile when
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. I'm tired."
Oh
Which is a whole
man.
nother topic on its own about what
Yeah.
men really mean when they say they tired.
Whew.
Mm. So we
Right.
may get into that, but I'm good, man. It's been a crazy few weeks. I just got back from the boys trip to from
Vegas.
Vegas,
Oh, how
and
was that?
good had a good time, man. We hung out, watched basketball, smoked cigars. That's it.
Hey, can't beat that.
That,
Can't
that
beat that.
and so it was a great 4 days. Reconnected with some college homies. We gonna get them on the podcast here soon. So it was a good time. It was a good time, man. But back
It-
on the grind. Working is working. You know.
Working is working.
How about you,
Man,
man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I just had me some was it some type of soup that my wife made, man? It was good. Like enchilada soup. You know the ones that
Okay.
come I think Chili had it. Chili's?
Uh huh.
Well, she had her own recipe, man. I ate a whole bowl of that.
There you go.
It's like, man, so I'm feeling good. I got my I got my drink here. What's
Oh,
inside?
okay.
Nobody will know.
I got mine. Well, you know what? Brought to you unofficially until they make it official. Unofficially through my own pocketbook.
There
Uncle
we
Nearest.
go.
I'm doing the Uncle Nearest old fashioned. So
Okay, all right.
you know, cheers,
I'm doing
brothers.
here, I'm doing some spring water. Feels good.
There we go. There we
Today,
go.
today, next time it'll be something different. I can promise you
There we
that,
go.
sir. I'm loving that
Okay.
shirt though.
Hey, this is a classic right here. This is an actively black shirt.
Uh,
Um, they went from a black owned cotton field to a black owned production to
mhm.
being sold and made by a black company. So from blackness to blackness, man.
There
I'm
we
always
go.
wearing my actively black up in here. So
Yes, sir.
so
Yes, sir.
represent.
How we do it, man. So what is going on today, man?
Hey,
You know what?
hey.
I'm gonna just say it. I heard a podcast, and the
Uh-huh.
podcast didn't really, sit well with me, because this is a Don, and I heard, some great information on it. I learned a lot from it. But it was kind of hurtful too. I ain't gonna even front, man. It was hurtful to me to hear that, about my guy. But you know what? We live strong and we live long, man. That's how we do it.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. I don't know if it came up in a different podcast or not, but I think it probably was deleted. But yeah, that mess hurt. That's all I'll say right now. That hurt.
There we go.
So
There we go. So
um,
speak. Hey, man,
I'm
that's
I'm
it.
human. I'm human, and I thought private moments were gonna get private, and they weren't.
Hmm.
So I was very
Well, let's
disappointed.
get it in. I ain't gonna say
No, no, no.
that. so,
No.
well, before you, I just go right into it, man. Before we even started, we were talking about relocation and all the places you and I have been, man, like
Yep.
throughout our lives, man. I think you left before, or we all left
I
at the
left. I
same
was the first
time,
person to leave. I was the first person to
right?
leave L.A. So we said we know we from L.A.
Hmm.
I'm Inglewood, Los Angeles. I got a full track scholarship to Purdue University. So y'all was
Right.
still back in LA. Then our undergrad there, masters there, worked there for 8 years. So I spent like
Hmm.
about 15 plus years in Indiana, West Lafayette. Then got a job in Miami. So spent
Uh,
7 years in Miami, 2 years in Oxford, Mississippi, 2 years in Reno, Nevada, 2 years in Boston, Massachusetts. Now I am 8 months or so in to
uh-huh.
Austin, Texas. So yeah, I've been around, been
Wait.
chasing the titles.
Man, so all those times you were moving, were they straight for a career? Like you
Yeah.
just kind of moving with the opportunity?
Yep. Hmm.
Oh, okay. So what's the difference between all those and now and where you're at now?
Well, so I would say first of all, let's just start off. Where all have you been? Let's start there
Ah,
first.
man. All right. So I left LA. I'm just going. I left LA. I went over to Ohio. Wilberforce University, HBCU, first one, established 1856, had to get it out there. I left Ohio, um, and then I went to the military for a while as a
Uh-huh.
Air Force reservist. So I was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and also I spent time in Texas for a while. Um, Left there, went back to Ohio, finished up school, and then left to go to LA. But after that, met my wife. We moved to
Uh-huh.
Indiana, right? I support her in Indiana, and went back to LA because she had an opportunity there. Like I said, we go where the opportunity is. And
Uh-huh.
after California for about 8 months, we left again to move where we are today, which is in North Carolina. So, like I
Okay.
said, man, yeah, we've been moving. I've been to many other places, but as far as with my lady, her and I, like I said, man, I was moving for the opportunity, and I knew that was the right move. It just so happened that my wife, she was doing the dang on thing, man, and she still is. I
So
don't regret none of it. Well, I do regret leaving Indiana. That was a cool place. I ain't
I
gonna front.
know.
I
I
didn't
I
I didn't think I
miss
was gonna like Indiana.
yeah.
Do miss Indiana.
I ain't gonna lie, I miss it too. I mean, I spent 15 that's where I grew up, literally grew up at. From 17, 18 to 33. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's where I learned growing up, learned to be a man.
Right.
So yeah, like so I answered your question wrong, number one. You said ask me were all those moves for career, all but one. So I just want to clarify that.
Which one was that?
And I'm literally tired. So if I feel sluggish, it's not because if I'm sound sluggish, it's not because of this drink. I just took 2 sips of it. I'm literally tired. um this current move. So I've always like tried to improve and grow in this
Yeah.
space. So, once I got to a spot at one institution where I felt like I've done enough or there was no forward movement for me to go, then
Mhm.
I would, okay, it's time to leave. I've done everything I can within the constraints that they've given me, and I don't see myself advancing anymore at this place. So
Okay.
then it's those instances when I decide to leave. So this or a better opportunity just fell in my lap. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Um, or got fired. I got fired at one institution. So let's be real.
I think a lot of we can go into that some other time, right? I
Yeah,
got some funny fire stories myself, man.
yeah. So for the first time in my career, I decided I picked this move or made a decision to move not for career choices, but for love or personal reasons.
Okay.
Like it wasn't about the job. It wasn't about this is an advancement in our career. It was about um okay, I'm gonna make a personal decision for for love, if you want to just say it like that. I moved for love.
Yeah.
So this is the first time in my life I moved for love. So yeah. What's next? What's
It
the next question?
no, no, I mean, most of mine was it just so happened that I was supporting my wife, but not only that, it was a good opportunity. Now, if it wasn't a good opportunity, I wouldn't have done it. You know what I'm saying? Well, when I say good opportunity, I mean good opportunity for the family. You know what I'm saying? And that was a good opportunity for the family. So the opportunity that you moved with for, you said it was for love. Now, was that a would you consider that an opportunity? Or was it just
It was
like
it was a
you would
personal
think with your
opportunity, yeah.
balls?
Nah, I was with this individual for almost 4 years.
Okay.
So we were engaged and it was a right thing to do. It was a next evolution. I felt at the time it was the next evolution in the growth of our relationship.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so I literally,
Do you regret doing it?
um, I don't regret doing it. I think all things happen for a reason. So if you've been
Okay.
listening, we're not together anymore. I hope y'all figured that out by now by listening to us. But we're not together anymore. I don't regret it. Um, I, the only thing that I ask myself is, did I rush into it? Yeah, and
Mm.
I'll say I just took the whatever job that came my way.
You're not gonna say, well, there's a reason. Everybody wants to say, well, there's a reason why you moved there. There's a reason
Yeah, I
why.
mean, there's a part of that. Part of me thinks that way. Like,
There's a
there's a
reason.
reason for everything. There's a reason and season for everything.
Yeah, the reason
So
why you moved there so you can break up.
yeah, that that could be it. So and
Or
focus
I
on what I
mean,
need to focus on, which is me.
yeah.
And like and we know that I got some stuff I got to work on. I'm going through a healing journey, trying to find
Look,
me. So I don't know that I would have.
you're not lost, my man.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got there if I wasn't here. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah, so I had to be here to do it and go through what I went through to get to the point where wanting to heal, needing to heal, doing the
Yeah.
work to heal. Um, I don't know if I would have got there in Boston, you know?
Mm.
So no, I don't regret it at
We
all. I
well,
just
I'll say this, man. Even myself being married, I regret a couple of times moving for love.
mhm.
Because usually when we moved, it was because of her career. You know
So
what I'm
go
saying?
back to the first time
The first time
you
we
moved.
moved, like I said, it was for her. She
Where
went to
where were
go
you
get her P.
currently at
We
and
was
where
in
were you
LA. We was
uh-huh.
in LA and she got accepted to Purdue. And we agreed. What's up, man? I can't hear
Hey,
him.
Timothy. We got Timothy joining us.
I done hijacked.
We didn't
It's all
hijack you.
good, man. Nice to meet you, sir.
How you doing?
Right, all right. Now we was
Tim,
talking about moving for love, unless you want to, bring in this. We were just discussing reasons why we moved or relocated, and I was just kind
yeah.
of explaining to Mike that um there were a few times that I regretted, right? Because my career had to stop so my wife's career can thrive. You know
Which
what I
is
mean?
usually the exact opposite,
Yeah,
right? Let's just put it out
but
there. It's usually the exact
yeah,
opposite.
it's usually but see, the thing is how I go at my family, if it's better for the family, then Imma go for it, not just for me.
Yep. Mhm.
Because for me, that's kinda being selfish, right?
Yep.
So I got, 3 kids to look at, I mean, to kinda think about. I'm like, "Okay, shoot, this is a good opportunity, and, ooh, this be good for the family." So Imma
Mm.
do it, right? But
Mhm.
when I get there, I have to start all over.
Right.
I started all over at least 4 times, man.
So the first time was from LA to
To
West
Purdue,
Lafayette. Yep.
right?
And she was
And
and that
then
was for her to get in her PhD program.
exactly.
I mean,
So
but
she
I
could
was there, so it couldn't have been that bad.
no, I mean, no, but you left, man. You left.
I did.
You left.
I did. I did.
You did leave, and at that
I
time, you
left.
was in a relationship there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And
Right.
just for the record, I did move one time for
One
love.
time for
So,
love.
what's that
Yeah.
experience like for you, man?
Well, my move was from New Jersey to Georgia, actually, and you know, I had got laid off in around that 08, 09 time period where the economy was pretty tough,
Mhm.
and I had just proposed to my wife about a month prior too,
Your current wife?
and
You gotta say that. Your current wife?
yeah. Oh, my current wife. Yeah, you're right. You're right, though.
Yeah,
You're
you
right.
gotta say that, right?
You gotta say
Uh, my current wife of almost 16 years, for the record,
Yeah, there we
Nice.
go.
and so I was home for about a couple months, and it got to the point that I was just like, well, I could look for a job anywhere, and so I said, well, I'll go down there and hang out with her while I look for a job. But like my main focus was New Jersey. We were going to get married in New Jersey. She had agreed to move to New Jersey, so she was the one, supposed to move for me. And then nothing came through in New Jersey, and I ended up having to accept a job down here and get the rest of my things and come down here because she had a house already, and that's where the opportunity was, and I've been trying to get back to New Jersey ever since.
And you've been
So
there for 16 plus years.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
she will tell you, I do not wanna be here, but
Mhm.
this is
Mhm.
the circumstance, and I make it work. You know,
Right.
I even hate the fact that my kids was born here, just saying, but yeah, so it's my reality, but the minute I have the ability to move back home, I would.
Yeah.
So,
Well, what let's talk about what was the so and don't get me wrong, yours was a little slightly different, Tim,
mhm,
because you didn't and not, I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but you didn't you were in between jobs. So you kind of was like, I'm take
mhm,
a leap, I'm gonna figure it out. But
Mhm.
was you still looking for jobs outside of Georgia, or was you focusing
yes.
on jobs? So it
No,
wasn't like I'm moving
no.
there and staying.
No, that I was never like I said, I was the wedding was in New Jersey, and she had already
Mhm.
agreed to move to New Jersey, and the house was on the market,
Okay.
you know? And so, you know, I was just literally saying, "Hey, let me go kick it with my fiance while I look for this job." And the
Right.
focus was New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey.
Gotcha.
And, you know, unfortunately, after, you know, a year, you gotta, you know, I had to come to the realization that you know, I wasn't finding anything in New Jersey, and I had to start looking in Georgia
What do you
because it's.
think
I
what
was
do you
just going
think
to
would
say.
happen? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say one more thing, and me not finding a job in New Jersey, which was hard for me because I wanted to go there, started to affect our relationship because she was already on the fact like, listen, you need to find something down here.
Mhm.
You know?
What do you think it would look like, either one of you, to if it went another way? You got your spot in Jersey, Mike, you stayed in Indiana or Boston, whichever one, you decide to stay there. Like, what would that look like? I'm trying to see. I want to see facial expression. What would that look like for either one of you?
You go ahead, Mike.
Man. Man, that's a tough one. If I decide to stay in Boston, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like
I think,
if
yeah.
in the other dimension, right? In another dimension, you're probably in Boston. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So what would that look like for you?
I probably I would the job I had was I'm gonna preface it a few ways. The job I had was my ideal dream job. So I left my ideal dream job. But the circumstances on the support that I felt I should have had to excel in that job was not there. So
Mhm.
it was like in one breath, I know I'm not going to get the support that I desire and need to excel in that position. So if I stayed there, was I ever going to get it? I don't know. So, but that was a very frustrating aspect of holding on to that job. So I think it was, if I'm not going to get it, then yeah, why not leave? Um,
Hey,
but I think I would still be there, and I would have figured it out, and I would have crushed. I'll be crushing it. Would I be
okay.
100% happy? I don't know. I don't think so. I
Mm,
don't think so, because
Okay.
the frustration around not having the support to excel in the way that we should excel wasn't there, and I think that frustration would have boiled over in more ways than one, and probably caused more problems and issues than needed. So,
mm,
like I say, I
Alright.
think the season was over for my time in Boston, but it was a conscious decision to be like, okay, I'm making this move. At the time, my fiance had a remote job, so she could work from wherever, and so it was easy. She didn't like Boston. She wanted to move to a place where it's warm 90% of the time, and Austin was it. So I was like, I focused solely on looking for jobs in Austin, and found one, and here I am without a fiance. So but like you said
So,
earlier, like now I don't think I would be working on me in the level that I'm working on me in Boston. So I had to be here at Austin to do that.
alright. What about you, Tim?
If I'm understanding it correctly, you're just saying, what if I got the new job, the job in New Jersey, and my wife moved with me, or I just want to
Well, the
understand.
question is, what if you would have stayed in New Jersey? What would that look like for you?
Um, Man, that would be, I really, eh, the only way I can answer that is if I stayed in New Jersey and it still took me the amount of time that it took me to get a job, it wouldn't look good.
Okay.
Um, but if I stayed in New Jersey and I got a job, and if I decided to stay and I got a job in New Jersey and it was a good one, something that I wanted to do, things would have been great, I
Okay.
think, because that was the original plan. That's the only way I can say that. But it took me, I think it was somewhere around 14 to 16 months to find a
Hmm.
job. So,
Dang.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question is because, and that's why I said, what would it look like if you were to be in Jersey or if you were to be in Boston? Nowhere did I talk about work. I didn't say
mhm,
anything about job, but automatically, what do? We go
mm,
for work. You didn't say anything about
Yeah.
family. You have a daughter out there. You have friends
mhm,
out there.
mhm.
We have acquaintances out there. Work is not all we do, gentlemen.
I
But
know, but
right?
that's
No,
that's
no. I mean,
literally
I was just making the point, right? The point
Yeah.
is that we go so hard into our careers and we go so hard into trying to make that money that we forget what truly matters. I mean, work matters. Don't get it twisted. Work matters, but other things also. We're more than just working and putting in
Mhm,
work,
mhm,
and
yeah,
we have to
you're
remember that.
100% right. You're 100% right. And part of my journey and my healing process, I'm realizing that
Yeah.
because how I interpreted things and incidents that happened in my teenage years, I was validating myself and working for the praise through the titles and salary at work. So that's what made me who I was
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
time. Like, yeah, yes, I've raised my daughter since she was 1.5 years old. And Tim was in grad school. Well, I was in grad school. Tim was in undergrad. He watched her while I was in grad school for me. Like, so it's like he knows what I went through. And
Did
so it's
we ever
like,
meet in Indiana, Tim? Did I ever meet Tim in Indiana?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. He was gone
Okay.
because that was probably, I left in 12. So that was probably, yeah, like you came the last 2 years and you was gone.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
2010 and 2012.
Yeah, I was
So,
gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like, even though I know, like I took care of my responsibilities, did what I had to do because of the hurt, the undealt with trauma that I was dealing with, I was so focused on my value in my job. And now, um, realize, yeah, like I'm more than what my job tells me I am.
Absolutely.
And this,
Mhm,
and I wouldn't. I remember our first podcast, Dar'Ron, like you brought it up and you hit me upside the head. I had to do some work from the very first podcast that we started. So it's like, it's been a journey for me just talking and dealing with stuff through this channel. So
Yeah.
I'm still working on stuff and I'm still coming to the realization, yeah, like I am more valuable to my daughter, even she's 25 now, more valuable to her now than I am at the job. So like the time I spend with her is more valuable than what I put in as a job. But it took it took 30 plus years for me to realize that.
mhm, mhm. Yeah.
What would you tell anybody who's even thinking about relocating, right? And in a relationship, right? And in a relationship, a serious one,
Mhm,
right? You have to kind of put prefaces on that because most of us who's in a relationship, like I've been married almost 16 years myself, and you was with your lady for 4 years, and Tim, you said you were married for 16 years, right? So we got skin in the game, right?
yeah.
So what would you tell the next person? A, how would you finish that? A. I think we all know
So,
what that means.
you know, for me, it's, be able to accept the permanence or the
Oh,
possibility of the permanence of it. Because
hmm,
if I'm being honest, and Mike has been my friend for a long time, Mike, and I still say I want to go back to Jersey. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm still fighting. And like my friends, like a lot of my friends, I've had friends for 20, 30, some of them 40 years.
Mm,
And I'm still fighting that good fight to try to get back home. Now, does it, I'm mature, I accept it or whatever. I'm not crying about it.
mhm,
But uh I would love to go back home. And I say that, you know, my biggest piece of advice would be to make sure that you understand that if you relocate, this could be permanent. And this
mm.
might not be a pathway back to where you want to go or where you were. So that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Mm.
If you relocate, it ain't a date. I just made that up. Don't you can cut that out,
Yeah.
but it's right.
Yeah.
I
Because
w
in reality, I've been here because I came here a year before. So I've been down here 17 years. So
So how does your wife feel about relocating, the potentiality of relocating to Jersey?
well, being that I've been trying to get back there for 17 years, we've already had that discussion. So the limiting factor here is the different financial cost.
Mhm.
Can I live in New Jersey the way we live here or close to it?
Because
If I ever,
you got a mansion in Georgia.
eh, no, I wouldn't say that. But if, and she knows, if I ever got to the point that I am, let's say, making X and we can move home and we can live like we live here, she knows that I'm coming for that conversation. She knows.
Mhm.
So So I oh, and to really answer the question, it's more of a, my family's there. We have support. I'm very well connected at home. It would be a positive thing. My wife loves my family, loves my brothers, my cousins, everybody. So it would be a good thing, positive thing.
Okay. I think
Do you
I
know
would
she feels that way 100%?
Mhm. What's
Do you
that?
know she feels that way 100%?
Um, I know exactly how she feels because we had the conversation. Now, there are people that she would miss. There are
Mhm,
things that, she would definitely be coming back here for.
mhm.
But, you know, I think that if we're being fair, I've been down here a long time. It's my
It
time.
is your turn, man. It is your turn. It's your turn.
Yeah.
Man,
So,
Ain't nothing wrong
hey,
with that. Hey.
hey,
yeah. So,
even to add to that, man, like I said, when we went to Indiana, my wife got accepted to Syracuse, Purdue, and some other school, but Purdue was the only one that offered her full scholarship, right?
mhm,
So I said, all right, come on, because she said, like, I wasn't going to leave there, leave LA, and we not be married. Ain't no way I'm gonna move down there with my girlfriend. I'm not doing
mhm,
it, right? You gonna commit to this, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
she agreed to it. So we go
Mhm,
down there, we stay, and I told her, hey, next move is mine.
mhm, mhm,
The next move is mine to be fair, right? And she said, cool, no problem. Came up, we got a job offer in LA at Long Beach State, right? Teaching there. I didn't have a job offer in North Carolina. I knew I wanted to come to North Carolina, but I didn't have a job offer in North Carolina.
mhm,
So it hurt me, man. It hurt me because I knew that if I would have went to North Carolina, we would have struggled even more,
mhm,
Mm,
right? Um, so I said, let's go. I did it with an attitude. I mean, in front. I did it with an attitude, and
mhm,
my belief in God, and I kept telling her, "Hey, is God telling me to go?" I didn't know nobody in North Carolina, nobody,
mhm,
no job, no nothing. All I had is my education and my experience,
mhm.
and I got spanked when I went to LA, man, because I should have went to North Carolina,
Yeah.
and then when I came out to North Carolina, I got spanked again because it's
Yeah.
almost like I wasted time. So
Yeah.
if something is telling you, even if you have a strong belief or strong gut feeling, if something is telling you to be somewhere, I would encourage the person go.
Yeah. Mm,
It's because it's something that's inside you, that's telling you to do something. And I should have did it. And now I'm in a place that I should have been in 2 years ago because I waited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, uh, I was funny enough, I was listening to Jay-Z's interview today, and I think he talked about two big things that stood out for me, and the second one. Well, the first one, he said, we got to get out of that terminology or using the term, what they will allow us to do. We,
Mm,
Mm.
no one should allow us to do anything. So the second point that he said is that, things don't happen to you, they happen for you. So you were kind of saying, oh, if I'd have went to North Carolina first or whatever,
mm,
but maybe that wasn't for you at that time. Maybe you are better off. And he was basically saying that you have to accept the good with the bad. So
yeah.
there is, he was like, everything is happening for you, and if
Mm,
you take that mindset, and that's one of the mindset that he has, is he was saying, listen, I know, he basically said shit happens.
mhm,
And he said, but that happens to everybody. Nobody is immune to it. And these billionaires, some stuff happens to them, stuff happens to people down in the lower end of the totem pole. Things are happening for you in your life, and you have to roll with those punches, basically. And I thought that was kind of an interesting take on it.
Yeah, I like
I
that. Yeah, I think we do say that a lot though. What
yeah,
we're allowed to do. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
and I would say that was absolutely correct, man, because when I went back home, I realized it wasn't home anymore,
Mm,
right? I realized it was not home anymore, and maybe, I mean, that could be something. Because at the end, I said, "Man, I'm glad I did that, because if I didn't, I would have always had this in my head, man. I wonder what would it be like if I was at home." And I'm so happy. I'm so happy. First of all, I'm in North Carolina, and it was I was mad during the process, but after the process was over, I was okay with it. After I got through it. But
yeah.
during it, man, it was something, man. I had an attitude all day. You couldn't tell me to be happy. You couldn't tell me the good in it or nothing. I wanted to get out of there. I didn't want to be there. My body was just kind of aching. I was getting sick. Dog, I
Mm,
was falling asleep on the freeway.
mm.
And you know how
Mm.
LA freeways are, no different from
Yeah,
Jersey
ain't no
bridges.
joke.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
And
So,
yeah, and
Yeah,
you
I would.
I would take that, man. Thanks for that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good point. I agree with what you were saying, Duran, earlier too. Like, if you gonna move, I would definitely move with whatever your gut is saying. Like, whatever your heart and mind is leading you to do it. Don't second guess yourself. But obviously ponder on it. Like, weigh the pros and cons. But like, when you do all
Yeah,
that, when you
right.
pondered and you thought about it, and what's the pluses and minuses of me going here? What's the pluses and
Mhm,
minuses of me staying? And one is going to outweigh the other.
Yeah,
mhm,
And once you sit there and think about it, go all in. Don't
mm,
second guess yourself once you make that decision. So
mhm.
yeah,
I'm not gonna sit here and say I regret it at all. I think you know the circumstances that end up happening. I think we wanted things to work out better than the way we did from a relationship standpoint, but when it's all said and done, you know, I have to look at it like I had to get out of that environment to take care of me to get me to where I need to be from a personal standpoint, and I'm okay with that.
Your gut breaks the tie, right? You know, you have the
Yeah,
pros and the cons, right?
yeah,
There's
yeah,
a tie. Your gut, breaks the tie.
yeah.
Well, it
yeah,
should
yeah.
anyway.
So when you think about like the emotions that you went through, did you feel any less of a man? I'm doing that in air quotes because what society says a man's supposed to be. Did you feel any less of a man knowing that you were following your quote unquote partner instead of her following you?
I look at relationships different, man. I wouldn't. To me, a smart man would do the smart thing. Including get
Hmm.
a smart woman. I'm
There you
I'm
go.
I'm
Yeah.
all into that. Like I love me a smart woman, man.
I can I can
I
I can vouch and say the both of y'all have women that are smarter than both of y'all.
Absolutely. But no, I'll say this. I'll say this. I'll say this. Why I will say this. Only a smart man would know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey.
There's no
So
way. Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say, like, I can answer your question. Like I had that issue, and I don't know how old you were, Duran, right? It's Duran. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
when you moved to Indiana, but let me give you the perspective, the scenario. Laid off, moving in her house, no job, debt. So it
So she
was
taking care of you.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. So
Hey.
listen, listen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to it's a hard position to be in. But I
Absolutely.
think to both of your points, you've got to have a smart woman, right? But you've got
Mhm.
to have
Mhm,
the right woman. And at no point during that time did I feel emasculated for uh like she was, looking at, giving me the side eye. Yeah, I didn't feel that. And so, but to answer your question directly, it was hard. I don't
mhm,
think I felt like that from her or society. It was just I was disappointed in myself. And
mm,
sometimes,
mm.
you know, there were hard days and there were hard nights. And, I dealt with that internally, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I got out of it. So, but it was
That's what's
definitely
up. I
hard.
think
Yeah.
that's a good point that I want folks to understand. It's like if you were down and out, I'm using paraphrasing, and but you had a woman there that didn't emasculate you for it. She like supported you, lifted you up, however you did it to make you feel comfortable enough to even stay in that position for that how long you say it was that you was without a job?
About six, I think it was over a year. It was over a year.
So over years.
Mhm,
So for you to deal with that over a year, it had to be a great environment. Supportive, friendship wise, relationship wise, the whole nine for you to get the job that you needed to feel comfortable enough to stay and move forward in a relationship. So kudos to P because that's what's up.
Yeah.
absolutely. Hey, total opposite, man. I can even front.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't front. I can't because
Yeah.
hey, I left. I didn't get laid off, but I left my job.
Mhm.
Right, had my own spot. Right. I just everything was cool for me. Right, I was living the life for me. I was single, doing
Mhm.
my thing. Right,
Yeah.
got to my wife, and well, she was my girlfriend at the time. Didn't think anything was gonna come of it, but it did.
Mhm.
Went to went to Indiana. Man, I don't
Yeah.
know if you've seen the document. I just remember it. Like honestly, man, we've been around the Purdue people so many
Yeah.
times. I even told her, man, I accused her of cheating on me because of my insecurities. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because PhD man, she was up in there. She was with these PhD folk at
Yeah.
Purdue. Time I went around them, I don't know what the crap they was talking about. I know nothing they were talking about. All they talk about is research. That's it.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't belong there. And
Mhm.
on top of that, I was working at McDonald's,
Mhm.
making 7.25 an hour, right?
You didn't tell me
Because
that. I could have came and got some free
no,
hookups on some
no, no,
Happy Meals and
let me
stuff.
tell you, because I couldn't find a job.
Yeah.
Couldn't find nothing. And I said, man,
Yeah.
I gotta suck this up. I went to McDonald's. She tried to surprise me. I ended up bawling, crying when she came to the drive-through window. She was trying to support me, but I
Mm.
was okay as long as she didn't see me.
Mm.
And
Which
when I say
McDonald's was it though?
Yeah.
wait, the one right there on, it was in Lafayette. Dang,
Was it in West Lafayette or Lafayette?
it was Lafayette. It wasn't West.
Oh,
It was right up
Okay.
the street
All
from
right.
me. It was right up the
okay.
Okay.
street from me, man. And I was like, oh my god. When you talking about confidence, when you go to Purdue and you have to tell people, hey, so what do you do?
Dang.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Compare. Oh, then you have you. I mean, luckily, I had my money game right. So before I even left California, I had saved up enough money to pay rent for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Rent was good. I was straight with rent, bills, everything was straight. But having a job, I work at McDonald's. One of my friends was clowning me. They said the reason why they give people hats at McDonald's because that's how far they're gonna get in the company. You know, so
Ooh.
but that's
Mm.
what I'm saying, like, those are some of the things that you have to deal with if you're moving for love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are sacrifices you're gonna have to make, and dog, I did a documentary, it's called I'm Good, Bro, Unmasking Black Male Depression, where I
Right.
went into, me being depressed, me having thoughts of suicide, getting close to suicide behaviors, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm sitting here cutting my wrist with a knife, trying to see how deep I can go. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot for me, man, when I made that move. I was like, why in the heck did I leave everything
Yeah.
to come
Mhm.
here?
Well, number one, I'm glad you made it through that
Oh,
process,
dog.
because the grass is definitely like you watered the grass without even you knowing. You watered the field that you was in, and the grass is growing
Yeah.
and shining where you at right now. So it paid off, brother.
And
Yeah,
and I'm gonna say this. Um, One of the reasons why my wife was so strong in support of me is the same reason why you was working at McDonald's. Because you would not sit on the couch and look for a job instead of going and finding something to do. You weren't going to be on the couch. You were going to contribute to the household or the apartment some way. And that's what men do. Like, listen, I, you had a cool job, a job where you was making enough money you could save up a year and a half and still have a good time. So you was obviously making decent money, but you humbled yourself enough to go work at McDonald's. And I think that's a
yeah,
testament to your character and probably one of the reasons why, your wife saw that in you, that like this
yeah,
man will go work at McDonald's before he sit on the couch. So yeah, kudos to you.
Yeah,
yeah, man. Our
that's what's
first,
up.
hey,
There you
our,
go.
our
That's a
first
good point, Tim.
Christmas.
That's a good point.
Look, our first Christmas. I can laugh about this now, but our very first Christmas, we had, my wife. She came from a family. They had rooms full of gifts. I mean, gifts all over the place, like that Home Alone type situation. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of gifts. Man, we had $20 to our name. So what do we
Mm,
each a piece? So what do we do? We went to the dollar store and
mm.
bought 18 or 19 gifts. We know with tax, right? Put them joints, wrap the presents, put them joints under the tree, and we had a 99 or Dollar Tree store Christmas, man. I said, "Ain't no way this gonna happen again." My wife, she was just crying. I'm like, "Oh man, Lord, you gotta help me through this. You gotta
Yeah.
help me through this." But this last year, we bought her a property. So from
Mhm.
99-cent store to buying properties, man, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay
Yeah.
to
with that.
write
But it
to
was
writing
hard.
books. Don't forget about that too. To writing books.
Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. It was hard. Like when you do that, and Tim, you know it, Mike, you know it, man. It's gonna be. I always tell people, give yourself at least 2 years to get acclimated to wherever you are. It's gonna take
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
well, for me, it took 2 years or 2.5 years, and then you start to kind of get the groove into things. But it's hard,
Yeah.
even with the job. It's hard.
Yeah.
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 And I think
Yeah.
that's the tough part of what I'm in. The job I have is the company I work for is a contractual. Is they're on contract. So in next April 27, that contract is up. Will I have a job? Or will I not? I don't know. So I think that's a tough part of being comfortable is,
Mhm.
making that move for the relationship. The relationship went south, and now potentially the job could go south in another year. So like that'd be, a year and a half mark and being out here in Austin, and I could be starting all over. So it's
Mhm.
like trying to find that comfortability is tough when everything is changing. I think that's another hard part is I'm going through personal changes, trying to figure out like who I am, because and I say that specifically because talking with my therapist, he said that we've come to the agreement based on the past trauma that I've um I have a performance based acceptance. I perform for acceptance.
Hmm.
So because of the incident that happened early on in my childhood and didn't receive what I wanted to receive, I spent all this time performing for acceptance, which means I'm making decisions to make you happy, not make me happy, because I'm making a decision in hopes that you
Right.
accept who I am. So I've been
Hmm.
doing
Right.
that for 30 years. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden I realize this. Now I got to figure out, okay, well, what does Mike want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does Mike want to do?
Yeah.
And so now relationship is over. What does Mike want? What does Mike want to do? How does he figure this out? Job is uncertain. So it's like it's just a whirlwind of emotions and things happening in Austin. But I'm thriving, making it through it.
Yeah. It's it's funny you say that you were making it decisions based on the other person, and I've been married a quite a long time, and sometimes every now and again someone will ask me like, oh, what's your biggest piece of advice? It's like, hey, and I always say the same thing. You have to accept that person for 100% of who they are, and vice versa.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that is the only piece of advice that I give, because, you know, as I was telling Mike, last week, a lot of people get married or they get with somebody and they think it's gonna be unicorns and rainbows like that first 1 or 2 years, and that is not marriage.
Mm.
And, I was fortunate enough to be in a situation where my parents were married until my father passed, and I saw the fights, the arguments, the reality of marriage, and my grandparents were married, until my grandfather passed. So I saw all that, and so I was fortunate to walk into that situation, understanding those things, and I expected them. But sometimes people don't, and that's where you kinda get in trouble. And then like you said, Mike, it's hard when you're not keeping in mind who you are and making decisions
Uh-huh.
for you, and that person doesn't accept the fact that this is how Mike thinks, or this is how you think, or this is how I think, and these are the things that I need, to be successful in this relationship, and let's talk about what you need to be successful in this relationship. So,
And I think that's a good point. And I think I can only speak for myself. I'm only going to say my side, what I felt. I felt that I wasn't receiving that
mhm,
in the relationship. Um, and I think that was one of the downfalls for me. I'm going to speak for
mhm,
me of not feeling like I was enough.
mhm,
And that wasn't a trigger from the past. There was instances that came up that I interpreted as, oh, I'm not enough. I'm not enough for you to move forward. I'm not enough for this. I'm not enough. So I was constantly trying to, I felt like I was constantly trying to bend to ensure and appease my partner. And I lost more of who I thought I was in doing that.
mhm.
So let me ask you a question. What's the difference from feeling that you're not enough and a woman wanting to help you grow? Right? Because maybe sometimes, let's say, she's saying, hey, you should do this or you should do that. And when you're hearing all this, or you're not doing this or you're not doing that, maybe like how could we tell the difference between, hey, is she putting this down, or hey, is she building this up?
That's a communication skill. Number one, to answer your question, at the at the point where it's specifically expressed that I need you to reach this level in order for you to feel comfortable for us to move forward. That's when things changed.
Mhm.
Because now I have to, you're not, to me, I interpret that love wasn't unconditional. Love
Mm.
was based on a condition that you obtain this goal for me to feel comfortable, for me to say I do. So under the condition that you get here, I can say I do. But under the condition I don't, I can't say I do.
Mm.
And I think that's where the acceptance, that's where for me, the acceptance of me, for me, disappeared. It wasn't about loving me for me. It was loving the idea of what you wanted me to be. And instead of, I firmly believe that two people will never be the same. From the time you meet, from the time you die, you're going to be constantly in motion and growing, hopefully. Like, whether it's good or bad, like, you're going to go on some highs, and your partner could go on some lows. And then while you hit a plateau, your partner could be going on a high. So
Mhm.
there's different ebb and flows of a relationship, but you've committed to making sure that you're in it for the long haul, good or bad, with that individual, not under the condition that they stay here and meet and continue to meet those societal expectations or comfortabilities, whatever. So it's like, I think that's the difference. Like, I also feel that once women, like said this before, I think women have a power in in their words, and some of them understand it. Some of them use it to the detriment of men. Some of them use it to the to uplift men. So our egos, I can admit that. I'll say for me, my ego is very fragile. So if I'm a mama's boy, love my mama. She's went on to her savior in 2020. So when she left, I didn't have that person that was always positive, always lifting me up. She knew exactly what I was going through, but she was there saying, "Michael, you could do it." You
Mm.
know, she didn't know 100% everything, but she just poured into me, knowing that the power of her words could get me out of a situation. And
Mm.
that's a communication trait that a lot of I assume that a lot of women don't understand it and realize that they have, just by saying, you can do it. Not They don't have to know what you're going through. I equate it to uh, cheerleaders.
Mhm.
Cheerleaders at a football game do not know the play that the team is calling, don't know what's going on, but their whole job is to push and create the atmosphere, help create the atmosphere for the team to do good. They don't know what direction, what being called, what's happening. They don't know. But their job is to ensure that they help create the atmosphere for that team to perform well.
Mm.
I think that's one of the aspects of a partner, is to assist and help it create the atmosphere for your partner to perform to the best of their ability. And that can, if I think it's a learned skill. I don't think everybody knows how to do it, and it doesn't come naturally to everybody. So I think that we have to understand and accept that everybody isn't perfect and everybody's not going to come across it right. Or so, how long can you deal with interpreting it wrong?
Mm.
You know,
You
and
know,
everybody,
Michelle Obama messed it up for a lot of these women out here.
Mm.
She put, man, all the way to the presidency. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I think that's what a lot of men, we look for, right? But realistically, man, we got to be our own cheerleaders, dog. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be, especially when you get married, right? It's gonna be times where, I mean, your wife should be your number one cheerleader. I ain't gonna even front, right? And we should be our number one. We should be the number one cheer for our wives. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, that ain't gonna happen a lot of the times, man. Because most of the time you're gonna have to be cheering for yourself, right? Most of the time you're gonna have to be building yourself up, right? Because even if she attempts to cheer, it's up to you to accept that.
right, correct,
And
Mhm.
when we're going through whatever we're going through, it's hard to accept that cheer. And then what does that turn into? That turns into attitude, and she get attitude, and you got attitude that she get, and it kind of blows up. So on most of we have to be our own cheerleaders, man.
Yeah,
We have to be there, and we can't depend on. Now it's nice
yeah,
when it happens, but we can't really depend on that.
yeah. Um, to kind of comment on both, right? How I look at it. Me, I have a certain type of personality where I don't care how many times I get knocked down. Like nothing deters me. And I've had a lot of ups and downs. And I would say that to your point, I don't need a cheerleader because I'm just going to do what needs to be done. I'm always going to play the cards I'm dealt, and I'm going to succeed no matter what. That's my mindset. However, the latest venture that I took on, I had to train for that for about 3 months, and my office, my wife's desk is right behind me, and as I'm training and I'm doing this, kind of on the side, to try to make our situation a little bit better. And, I was going through this training for 3 months and she's seeing me answer these questions. She's seeing me study. She's doing this, seeing me do all these things. And probably about 2 months, 2.5 months in, she said, man, I see you working hard
Mhm,
and it's pretty cool. And that's awesome to see your follow through on this. And, you know, I was shocked to your point. Like, I'm not expecting that. I was shocked,
mhm,
but
mhm,
it felt really damn good,
mhm.
you know? So,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what's
So
up.
it's definitely, I agree with both points. I don't think that, sometimes we have to be strongly self-motivated, but we have to welcome and receive that and take that in because to me, that's that acknowledgement and that's that support and that's that I'm behind you and I believe in you type situation. And we don't get that a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think that's the key word. I think men, most men constantly gonna push themselves until they can't push no more.
yeah,
Mm,
But when you allow someone to come in your space, you would like them to be more a cheerleader than criticize, you know. So here's the thing, like you got some women that are natural helpers, but their idea of helping is, you know, telling you exactly what you did wrong and try this a little better and then so like that's great, but then if you constantly if you're at work being told you're not right, you're at home being told you're not right, like that's a tough environment
yeah,
to be whole in, you
yeah,
know. So even though both intentions are good, right? Work is trying to get the best out of you, home is trying to get the best out of you, but like, damn, can I do anything right in this mode?
yeah,
And I think, that's just it's hard, I'll say for me. That was tough for me to deal with. I'll put it that.
yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. All right, Deron, any more questions on moving for love? Is that it? Is that all we got?
If I
Last and
if I had
final.
to do it all over if I had to do it all over again, I would do it 3 more times, man,
Yep.
because I'm happy with my life, I'm happy with my wife, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm going on 16 or 17, one of them things, years of the game, you know what I'm saying? So, but, like, you just have to make sure that, like I said, it's a team effort, and it's not gonna be perfect, and if you can get that 80%, right? If you can get that 80%, man, trust me, you are good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You are good because if you think about it, oh, you think you giving 100 to her, you're not. You got something over here, you got something over here, man. We are splitting up, and we always have to
Yeah.
remember that we are sharing this person. That
yeah,
doesn't. That is not all us, 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 us. It's her family, it's her friends, it's her job, it's her kids, it's her this, it's her that, and it's us. So it's a life that we are sharing. We have to really understand that in order to
yeah,
be successful in our marriage and really understand
yeah. And
how to stay. How to stay. That's a good one. How
yeah.
to stay.
And my final point on moving for love, I think there's nothing wrong with it if you truly love each other and have vetted each other, not just dated, vetted, and, you know, you do your due diligence and the decision could be sound, right? My
Mhm.
decision was sound. Duran, your decision was sound, you know? And so, um, you know, it can work out. So, and again, we're not the only two that's been successful at it. It's just there's a lot more to it, I think, that sometimes, you know, people may forget about or not think about. And like I said, the biggest thing for me was understanding the permanence of it. You know what I mean? And some people, because when I came down here, I was like, I'm not gonna be down here too long. Eventually, I'm gonna get out of here. And here we all are almost 2 decades later. And and
Yeah.
and I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's some good stuff. My final point was, yeah, don't regret it all. Move, as long as, like you said, this is vetted. You've thought it through, ways to plus and minuses. Go for it. The thing that I'll say, whether you move or stay, I think it's so important. I've been doing it wrong, and this is could have been to the detriment of the relationship for me. Is I've poured more into the job than into myself in the relationship.
Mhm.
So, what you think is going to where am I watering the grass? So where's the grass going to grow the
Mm.
most? I wasn't so now I'm realizing I got to pour more into me first and foremost and my personal life in order to be efficient and effective enough to be the best person I could be on the job.
Yeah, it's it's
So
it's funny, not to cut you off, but it's funny you say that you were watering the glass for the job, and the job in Boston was your dream job. So
yeah,
you where you watered, you got,
yeah,
but how did that affect everything else?
it
So, I mean,
affected affected
that's a
personally.
strong
Yeah,
point. That is a
yeah, you
strong point.
affected it affected everything personally.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you have to do, regardless of whether you move and stay. But if you do decide to move, make sure if you're moving for love, make sure you're watering that love, because that's what's going to give you the strength. Pouring into yourself, pouring into your partner is going to give you the strength to be the best you could be on the job, wherever job you have. So that's what I have to say about that. So no regrets of moving. No regrets of moving. Just make sure you water in the right field that you want to blossom.
There we go.
Sounds good.
With that
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
our
Glad I could
hearts and
join
minds is
y'all.
clear. Hey, we
Hey,
glad you
yeah, man,
could.
that's cool.
Tim was one of the guys that I said I was just in Vegas with. So, so we had a good old time connecting, having
Yeah,
a good time. So,
yeah.
with that
Yeah.
said, I'm gonna just end this recording and appreciate y'all. Until next time, we'll see you.
All right. Later.